What's up YouTube, it's HowToYG, and today we'll be showing you guys a branded Dracotail deck profile post Doom of Dimensions format. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and let's get into the deck profile. So we're gonna start off with the main deck. I'm running 3 copies of Dracotail Lucius. So she's basically the rotor for the deck. And when she's sent to grave as fusion material, you can set a Dracotail spell trap from your deck. Next we got 3 copies of Dracotail Malulu. This one's like Cartesia, where you can fuse quick effect in main phase, and if it's sent to the grave as fusion material, you can negate the effects of a face-up monster in the field your opponent controls, and you can set a Dracotail spell trap from your deck. Next we got 3 copies of Dracotail 5 mana. So this one basically you discard it during the main phase quick effect, and then you can fusion summon. So you can fusion summon from on your opponent's turn as well, using materials from hand or field. And if it's sent to grave as fusion material, you set a Dracotail spell trap from your deck. Next, for the one-off Dracotail monsters, I'm running 1 Dracotail Phyrexial, 1 Urgula, and 1 Pan. So Phyrexial is the new one from Doom of Dimensions. This one basically, when it's normal space summoned, you target a Dracotail monster in your graveyard, space summon it, and then return 1 card on your field to the hand. And if it's sent for fusion material, you set a Dracotail spell trap. Pan is if it's used as fusion material, you can set a Dracotail spell trap and non-target destroy monster on field. And if it's a fusion monster you control leaves by an opponent, which is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, while it's in the graveyard, you place in the bottom, and then you can special summon a non-fusion Dracotail monster from graveyard. So for example, you can reborn like Phyrexial, Malulu, and Lucius if like your fusion monster gets destroyed by card effect. For example, like Murakumo. Meanwhile, Urgula is when it's used for fusion material, you set a Dracotail spell trap, and then you non-target MST card on the field. And if it's in the graveyard, you target a spellcaster Dracotail monster, you place this in the bottom and you add it back to hand. So this is like your recovery card. Next, that's it for the Dracotail monsters. Next we got 1 Fallen of Albaz and 1 Blazing Cartesia for the branded package. So Albaz, of course, is when it's normal space summoned, you discard a card and fusion summon either field using this card as well. And you can't use other monsters you control as fusion material. So you must use this in another monster your opponent controls. Cartesia basically is like Malulu, where quick effect you fusion summon, and if you control Albaz in your field or graveyard, you can special summon from your hands an extender. And if a fusion monster is sent from your field to a graveyard, you can add it back to your hand. So that's it for the main deck monsters I'm running. Now let's get into the hand traps. I'm running 3 copies of Effect Veiler for mainly the mirror match, Raziel. It's good when you combine it with like another hand trap as well, and it's generic. Can be effective against Yummy if they don't have any other extenders. So next we got 3 copies of Molten Full Loss, basically maxi for main deck and extra deck. So you have to run this, and you can just use it for fodder for fusion summoning, so it doesn't really matter if it's a dead card in your hand. Next we got 3 copies of Ash Blossom, just generic, hits the more charmies, the mirror match when you hit the traps. You hit Copsy, Yummy, and Yummy Way against Yummy. Just overall generic card. Got 3 copies of Ghost Spell next. This one of course is another hand trap against the mirror match for the traps. You can dash and build also counter the Mitsurugi prayers. Build can counter the mirror. Meanwhile, Ash can counter the ritual when they use deck. And they both can counter their graveyard tribute effects as well. Keep that in mind. Next, we got 3 copies of Nibiru the Primal Being. Basically, you don't really care about your board most of the time, because you can just tribute over it and reborn your stuff, which is why we can run this. And even if it's a dead card, you can just use it as fusion fodder. So that's it for the main deck monsters. Now let's get to the main deck spells. I'm wearing 3 copies of Rahu Dracotail. This is basically brand fusion for Dracotail, but you're restricted from the extra deck and you just use materials from your hand, deck or field. Next we got 3 copies of Ketu Dracotail. This is basically rotor for the deck, and even if your opponent controls a monster, you can fusion summon. So it's a bit kind of like the Shadow Fusion stuff, like the influence from it. And lastly, we got 2 copies of Branded Fusion for the main deck spells. So Branded Fusion basically now is 1 card starter for this deck, thanks to Fraxel being a light spellcaster, which is nice. And it's the reason why I gave this deck a try, because I was like, oh nice, we got a second Branded Fusion now, and we can also bridge into our Dracotail engine. So I was like, alright, I'll give this deck a try, and I managed to win locals with it, which is awesome. So that's it for the main deck spells. Now let's get into the traps. I'm running 1 copy of Flame, 1 copy of Sting, and 1 copy of Horn. Flame basically negates a face-up spell on the field, and you place a Dracotail card from your graveyard banishment to the bottom of the deck and you draw a card. Meanwhile, Sting is basically DD Crow or double DD Crow. 1 for monster, and you can also use 1 from the one that's a spell trap and 1 that's a monster as well. Horn basically bounce attack position 1 star back to the hand, and all 3 of them have like the recycle draw 1, which is why you can Ash and Bell it. And it's only downside with these traps, but they're very powerful. Flame and Sting are effective against Mitsurugi, of course. Horn not so much. Most of the time I lean towards these 2 now instead of this one. This one's like the one I'll set if I have enough gas to get the 3rd set, but most of the time I prioritize on these 2, unless the matchup where Sting might not be effective. I'll probably just put the 2, the 1 Horn, 1 Flame, I guess. So overall, very good cards, and that pretty much sums up the main deck. Now let's get into the extra deck. We're running 3 copies of Dracotail Alfarion. This one basically requires 1 Dracotail monster and a monsters in hand. So when it's used as fusion material, when it's fusion summoned, you target monsters in the field or graveyard up to the materials that was used from the hand, and you add them back to your hand. So you can recycle your hand traps, you can compost your opponent's stuff. And it has another effect where if 2 monsters are sent to grave at the same time while it's in the graveyard, you can spirit summon it except in the damage step, but banish it when it leaves the field. Next we got 1 copy of Dracotail Gulamel. Usually I run 2 copies when playing the pure variant, but we don't have space in the branded variant unfortunately. So this one has the exact same materials. However, this one, when you activate a Dracotail card, except during damage step, you can destroy a card. You can target a card in the field, destroy it, and it's like a Lady of the Labyrinth, where if your opponent doesn't respond, you get to use it. But if they respond with something, you lose the timing to use it. And basically same thing, just reborns itself if 2 or more monsters sent to the graveyard. Next you got 1 Albion the Sanctified Dragon. So this one requires a full of Albers and 1 light spellcaster monster. And it's the one you summon of the 1 card Dracotail combo. And during opponent's turn, you can target 2 monsters any graveyard, special summon them. And he also has a hidden effect where if this card is in the graveyard, you can tribute 2 monsters in the extra monster zone, 2 monsters in the main monster zone, and then reborn it. And you can't target as well. Very good card. Next we got Mirror Trade, the Ice Blade Dragon, 1 Liberion, the Searing Flames, and 1 Albion, the Branded Dragon. Mirror Trade basically requires Albaz and a extra deck monster. And once per turn quick effect, you send a fusion monster from extra deck to graveyard, and then non-target banish the card in the field, kind of like Shirak, the Ominous Omen from Troubadour. And when it leaves the field, I'm pretty sure, by opponent's card, you can right-click your opponent's board and end phase. Liberion requires a dark monster and a fallen Albert, and with fusion summon, you discard a card, fusion summon 1 level 8 or higher fusion monster from extra deck, except itself, by shuffling materials from it from the deck, from the field, graveyard, or face a banishment. Albion, on the other hand, requires a light monster instead of a dark. And you can fusion summon level 8 or higher fusion monster from extra deck, but you have to banish the materials from your hand, field, or graveyard. And when it's in the graveyard, because you sent to this turn, you can add to your hand or set 1 branded spell and trap from your deck, so you can add like another branded fusion, for example. But most of the time you summon this. So that's all I have to say about the branded package. Now I got 1 copy of Mysterion the Dragon Crown and 1 Secretarian Dragon. They both require a Dragon Spellcaster type. This one's the newest one, this one's the old one. Basically, this card loses 100 attack for each of your opponent's banished monster. And while you control this fusion summon card, your opponent can activate the effects of spell summoned dragon or spellcaster monster state control. So it's very effective in the mirror match. And you can target a dragon spellcaster monster in the graveyard, put 1 into your deck, and reborn the other one. On the bottom of the deck, yeah. So it's pretty nice. Next we got Mysterion. This one has the exact same material requirement, and it cannot be used as fusion material, and it loses 100 attack for each of your banished cards. If a monster uses effect to spell summon itself, or monster with its same type, original type, except during damage type, you target 1 spell summon monsters, banish the monster, and banish all monsters with the same type. So it's effective against the Yummy matchup, because you can go Lollipop reborn, you can target like the one that's been reborn and be like, target this, and if they can't dodge the target, it gets banished. Next we got 1 Philia Regis. So this one requires a dragon fusion monster and level 7 or higher dragon monster, so you can use like Pan and like Arthurian for example. And during the main phase, quick effect, you can target a card on the graveyard or field, banish it. And if it was the field, you have to bounce 1 dragon monster you control to the hand. And then at the start of the damage opponent's battle phase, if it's in the graveyard, you can return 1 dragon monster you control to the hand, extra deck, spell summon this card. So this one helps, it's like a DD crow in the field, so it can help against like Mitsurugi for example. I remember using this against Mitsurugi or DOOD, and I used this to banish the Miracle, and I needed a way to get rid of it, so this came up. You can also run the Chaos one instead, I still haven't got the super rare one yet. I'm trying to pull the super rare one and I never pulled it. I'll use it. Oh yeah, that's the other one you can play instead. Next we got one copy of SP Leonite. Offer a generic link too. If it has materials used from an action deck monster, you banish the card in the field or graveyard. If a card effect activate reported, you banish a card you control and one monster pen control until the end phase. Next for cross sheep. So this one requires 2 monsters with different names. And if a monster is special summoned to this points to it, depending on which action deck monster type it was, you can use one of the effects. So for example, if you ritual summoned, you can draw 2 cards and discard a card. If you summon a fusion monster, you can special one level 4 lower monster from your graveyard. If you synchro all monsters you control gain 700 attack. If you have Xyz, all monsters your opponent controls lose 700 attack. Next we got one Heroic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres. This requires 2 dragon monsters, and when it's in action monster zone, you can tribute for cost during your opponent's turn. Return a face card of foot to graveyard. And if it's tributed, you can specify a dragon monster from your deck while its attack is 0 attack 0 defense. So you specify either Fall of the Albaz or Malulu for a quick fuse with one of those two. So it's very effective when you get Nibiru. And lastly, one Spirit with Eyes of Blue. We don't use it for its effect, we just use it as like linked material to summon spheres if we use like a spellcaster, level 4 spellcaster. So that's it for the extra deck. Now let's get into the side deck. Having 3 copies of Drawn Lockbird because it helps against Mitsurugi and any deck that searches too much, such as the Mitsurugi, all the Mitsurugi variants. Because that deck's like very good at the moment. Any deck that searches a lot, you want to put these in. Next we have 3 copies of Lancy, of course. It's like for Malice and any banished deck, so you can use it against like the Jirak Dino deck, because like try to banish the Meteor and stuff to like pop stuff. The Gem Knight deck because they got the negate. What else? Crystron, K9 I guess. Branded because they actually banish like the trap, like add back the branded fusion for example, and like the Albion as well. Next we got 3 Castia Fenrir. Yeah, basically you want to put these in when you start at the 4 losses. And it's good going second against Yummy for example, because Arclights are a problem with this deck, so you just special summon a Fenrir and try to attack over the Arclight after evading stuff possibly. So a good card. It's also good against like back row decks for example, like Floodgate decks. This will help you out. Because this deck you want to prioritize only on monsters, not spell and traps, because you need materials for fusion summoning. Very similar to our Vanquish Soul K9. So nice OTs I got. I pulled 2 of these, which is funny, and I bought the last copy for like $70. Next we got 3 copies of Pankratops. Basically same theory as Fenrir, basically the original version of Fenrir I'd say, because we were playing this in 2019 and then 3 years later we get this. But this one he tributed for cost and he pop a card on the field. We want this one just banishes face down. Lastly 3 copies of Phantasme. Basically just start at the 4 losses and then you just put these in for like in like link deck For example, like Sky Striker, this would be good because you can negate the Widow Anchor and stuff. Yummy as well for the cookie. So yeah, overall that's pretty much it for the deck profile. Let's do some special considerations. I'm gonna pile of cards for special considerations. So we're gonna start off with Titanic Lad and Jizukiru, the Star Destroyer Kaiju. So basically this can help you out the Moonlight Light Dancer board, like even if it's spam 2 you can out it. So you can use Branded Fusion to ditch, because this one requires Albaz and a monster of 2500 more attack. So you dump Albaz in this and it will gain attack equal to the total. So this is like 10 and Albaz is 14. So this is 39 attack because Light Dancer is 38. So you got just enough to beat over it. And it's also unaffected by the activated effects of any other monster spirit summon from the extra deck this turn only. So yeah, the Light Dancer kind of like pop this. And then later, if you send to grave, you spirit summon Albaz or Dogma common monster from your deck, or you can just add it instead. And Jizukiru basically you just tribute over the monster and spirit summon to their field. So in the combo you use Branded Fusion, dump this, and the Albaz attack over the first one. Then if you got like any ways to get the Alfarion, you summon the Alfarion, add this back to your hand, and then use Jizukiru tribute over the second Light Dancer. Next we got the Magisters package, which is Jorah, Iwaz, Artemis and Crowley. So this one basically you make it with any spellcast monster, so you can use Cartesia or Lucas to make it, and then you've used this for fusion material to summon Zora, and Zora requires a Magister's monster and an extra deck monster, and you target a card in your graveyard your opponent controls on your graveyard and you equip it. And then when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can send a Magister's monster card you control to the graveyard, negate the effect and you can destroy cards. So this helps you against like Ashen Bell if they try to negate your traps. iOS basically it's a snatch steal during the main phase where you target a face up monster effect, equip it to this card, and the equipped card can activate effects. Crowley basically you add this. So basically you equip this to this, and then this one searches Crowley, and Crowley can spirit summon itself from hand, and then it can fusion immediately into like invoked Kaliga, the one that locks you. So that's all I have to say about Magister's package. I'll definitely try it out in the future, but I'm kind of waiting for a Spoon to come out first before I experiment with it. That's it for the Magister stuff. Next we got 2 pans. So I used to run 3 pan when I was playing the K9 version, but now that we have the branded package, I don't think we need as much. You can run like a second copy and take out Cartesia if you like. It's all preference, but I like having 15 hand traps because I want like ways to counter my opponent's board going second. I'll admit I did miss the second third pan sometimes, which is why I try to not send this to grave anymore. Because even when I send to grave, I just try and recycle as much as possible to back to my hand with my Ferium. Next we got the Fighter package. So there's 3 Patchwork, 3 Imp Chain, 2 Poly, and 3 copies of King of the Swamp. So Patchwork can add you Polymerization, Imp Chain. Meanwhile, King of the Swamp, you pitch it for cost to add Poly. So people play the Patchwork, the Imchain Poly in the Magister's build, and some of them play King of the Swamp as well. King of the Swamp can also be used to make a Dragoon if you like, and it's pretty powerful. But yeah, because you can use it to substitute for any fusion material. But builds like this hurt more into a draw lock build, and you have to like lessen your non-engine space. So I wouldn't try it as much in like a high competitive scene. But yeah, for casually, yeah, I'll probably like give it a try. Yeah, so one Guillemot. This one's the one if you want to play a second copy. But I haven't had any problems with it because you can secretary and put it back. You got the traps to put it back anyway, so I think it's fine. That's the one of. Yes, you got one Typhon. Typhon for like balancing stuff since we're playing hand trap heavy deck as well. Keep in mind. Grand Guignol, because we're running Cartesia, you can make this. And some people, if you don't have like the security, you can dump like Radiant instead and then add it back of Affair instead if you like. Or if you're running Fusion deployment, you can use this as the deployment target, especially in Cartesia from deck. I need to get my own deployments later on. One Borrow Sword Furious Dragon, so this requires 2 dragon monsters, and you target a monster you control, and 1 monster your opponent controls, destroy them. And you can banish it from the graveyard, target a Dark Link monster in graveyard, special summon it, but you can activate his effects at him. So you can play this one as well instead of like Chaos. But I'll probably play Chaos instead of this one, to be honest. One Garura, one Mud Dragon Swamp, one Regus Tipelia, and the Super Poly package you would like to run it. Garura basically requires 2 monsters same attribute and type with different names, and it does double damage that your opponent will take, and if sent to graveyard, draw card. Mud Dragon cannot be targeted by your opponent cannot target itself or monster with the same attribute, and then you can declare an attribute and it becomes the attribute. Triggers to Palia requires a fusion monster, dark monster, target a monster in the field, place a counter over it, and it cannot activate its effects, negate the activate effects of it. Yeah, and this one requires same attribute, different types. Yeah, that's all I have to say about the Super Poly package. It's pretty effective. The Super Poly package, again, like Yummy and stuff. But yeah, if you want to play like that, probably with the Magistus build, I guess, because you play like a very like fusion heavy build with that. So yeah, you probably play this instead as well, instead of like a Nibiru. Next we got 3 Purulia and 3 Meows for like decks that spam from hand or graveyard, so you can draw cards, which I've seen people try these days. I just wanted to play cards that are try to lock down more and are better for like matchups that lack. Because if I keep the more chummies and take up Bank and Fenrir, I lose heavy into like decks like Primite the Apophis, for example, with its set floodgates. And then the Swamp Negator as well, because I want to like use Pancratops Pop it, so they won't negate my fusion spell cards like Branded Fusion, Rahu Dracotail, Keto Dracotail. Next we got 3 copies of DD Crow. This one basically for Mitsurugi, the mirror match for the Fairy targets. Crystron, any deck that has Reliance in the graveyard. Orchis Canine as well. Next we got 3 copies of Ghost Egg and Snow Rabbit. This one basically use it for like Yummy, for example, to pop their field spells. If they only have Snatchy on their board, when they normally send 1 monster that makes Snatchy, you can use it. Very nice OTs I picked up. This is looking so nice. So yeah, what else can I talk about this card? The Vanquish Soul Field Spell. Like, this card was much better last format, but this format doesn't feel as great as it used to be. You can hit like the Milu in the mirror match, the Cartesian in the mirror match as well. Like, it's only good against like niche cards in your opponent's deck, like one certain card is like good. It's not universal. Next we got the Cyphering package with Omega, Lambda, Gamma, Delta and Driver. Delta's Spell Negate, Gamma's Monster Negate, nice CR picked up recently from Tosh original print, first step. Omega for hand ripping, Lambda, you put it on the board and you can like spam. You can activate these from hand. So they're good for like the Mitsurugi matchup, and Gamma as well, generically good against like the more chummies and Ash and stuff, because if you use a fusion spell like Branded Fusion, try to Ash, you can chain Gamma from hand, but it just get banished. Next we got Photon Lord, Titanic, Vampire, Light and Sublimation Dragon, and Dark and Evaporation Dragon. So there's another package you can run. Basically this one, you banish level 8 Dragon monster in extra deck, spare summon from your hand, and then you can activate one of these effects. Fusion summon one monster from your extra deck using materials from your hand or first, like Polymerization. Target one other attack position monster first. Make this card loses actually 500 attack or defense, and then destroy the monster. So basically you banish the Chaos card, the Fusion one. I gave out my comment to one of my friends. I was hoping to pull it today from my pack, but I didn't pull it sadly, because I want the super to match like the other holders. I don't know. Light End can banish level 8 monster from extra deck. Spare summon from your hand. Exact same thing. It's pretty funny, they have like the exact same effect, except this one makes the opponent's monster lose 1500 attack. So that's pretty funny. Basically you can use these to make a rank 8 monster, so you can make like Titanic Galaxy for like strikers, Photon Lord to help you against hand traps your opponent would make. So most of the time you probably make this blind. Vampire to like dump stuff, and then special summon like an engine piece you don't have, so you can special summon the Dracotail monster to excavate, like Lucas or Malulu for example. So yeah, that's what I have to say about them. I'll definitely try these out soon. Maybe like next month I'll try it out, but I want to explore like other decks in the format as well. Yes, we got 2 copies of Cartesia, so you can run the additional 2nd and 3rd, which join the Magister's variant. And if you have Albas engraved, it is like a full extender, which is crazy. And you can run them as more consistency. I see people run like 3 of this, 1 more regular, 1 pan for more consistency if you like. It's up to your preference. While I personally like playing like the limited amount, because I want to have as many hand traps as possible going 1st and 2nd. Next we got the Bestial engine. So this one basically, the Magnamod can set your Jerusalem or like your Albaz, like any like dragon monster. If you run the sublimation stuff, you can add that with a Lighten package. What else? This one basically send a special monster on the field your opponent controls graveyard. This one you banish a special summon monster, ritual monster, and they can be effective against the Mitsurugi matchup, which is funny. So you can run these as well. against Yummy as well, because this and the Phantasmic can be devastating. I was experimenting with that in my Vanquisher Canine deck when I started playing the deck. Next we got 3 copies of Skullmeister. So this one can help you in the mirror match, because most of the time they'll always put Chain Block with Apherion, so you can use this to negate one of them. The ones gonna try to set. It's good against Crystron Canine, any Canine variant, because you can negate like the Lupus in graveyard. Dinosaurs against the Jirac stuff, because activating graveyard. Mermail, because of this spam, because they have things in graveyard that spam that are much effective. So any deck that activates stuff in graveyard that you know is like a crucial point, you put these in. For example, like Unchained, the Fiendsmith stuff. Next we got Reaper Cherries. This one gives mirror match. A refill Apherion, banished like the grind game I guess, but they have to use the traps to get back. If you got Snatchy, you can banish the Snatchies. It's a good card, but it's a -1 as well when you think about it. It's up to you if you want to run this card. I wouldn't run it personally because I know it's a -1, but it can help against like decks that need the grind game. Next got 3 Forbidden Droplet against like Yummy. It's good. The mirror match as well. If they try to use 5 mana fuse. I think the Christian Canine deck, if they try to summon Dagda on your turn. I'm not really familiar with that mashup, so I can't explain. Can't guarantee my explanation of that. Next we got 3 Shed Ride, 3 Mistaken Rest. Mistaken Rest is basically like Drawn Lockbird, but it conflicts with you as well, so I probably wouldn't put it in. Shed Ride when you have it in my hand is like maxi for searching. So if you're up against like a deck that searches, for example like Mitsurugi, and you draw cards to get into more hand traps. I just want to lock off Mitsurugi, so like these basically are more better in like Malice for example, because they don't care about searching. Oh yeah, this is something you can run if you like. Next we got the Frost package. Frost Talent, Coldfire, Crossout for like anti-hand traps. I wouldn't put these in because this deck doesn't really care as much against hand traps. I like the other decks. It's like pretty hand trap resilient. I've already explained to you guys the Frost package too much. I don't think I need to explain more about it. Dust stuff for popping back row for the Frost target, Sanctum to Specimen Delancia, Barrier for the mirror match, Yummy, different damage for Mermail, Memento, Christian Canine, Storms for back row, Cosmics for back row, Strikes, Warning, Judgment, Anti-Spell for going first if you like, instead of running like the Fenrir and Pank stuff. But I prefer like the Fenrir Pank stuff. I like my list a lot, it's very well balanced. I think one thing I might want to change is Philia Regis, I guess, but that card can like help for some things this deck lacks, because this deck besides Sting has like the DD Crow like effect. So that's pretty much it I have to say about the deck profile. So that's it for the deck profile for Dracotail branded. Make sure to like, subscribe and notification bell, and next video is gonna be on combos with the deck. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.